Here's another section from Charge. Today we're going to talk about Chapter 14, Sales Enablement. Don't worry, no one pays any attention anyway. Sales enablement is one of those modern corporate inventions that sounds important on paper, but exists mostly to fill a gap no one really wanted to bridge. Theoretically, its purpose is to empower the sales team to sell products effectively. But let's not kid ourselves. This team is a black hole of irrelevance, filled with good intentions and minimal impact. In this chapter, we'll explore the art of ignoring, undermining, and quietly eroding sales enablement and its mischievous cousin, competitive intelligence. Both groups pose minimal immediate threat, but a little proactive destruction can ensure they never rise above their lowly station. Sales enablement, a department destined for neglect. What is sales enablement? It exists to train sales teams on how to sell your solution effectively. Provide tools, content, and insights to make selling easier. Align sales and marketing in some utopian fantasy that never quite materializes. In reality, it's a department either led by a washed-up sales veteran, someone too senior to fire, but too outdated to keep in a real role. They're here to run out the clock, become irrelevant enough that they can be quietly fired at a time of your choosing, often after you need someone to blame for something else. A clueless marketing grad, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and completely unqualified. They see this as a stepping stone to real marketing. It isn't. Either way, marketing ignores them, and leadership can barely remember they exist. Dynamics of dysfunction. Sales enablement versus sales. Sales resentment. Sales sees innate corporate overhead, irrelevant outsiders trying to tell them how to do their jobs. The best product wins myth. The rest of the company assumes the product sells itself. Enablement's role is reduced to finding the magic words to convey this to clients. Spoiler, there are no magic words. Internal dysfunction. Starved of resources, sales enablement is perpetual. Even if they create something useful, it will never reach the people it needs to. Brand police blockades. Anything they create must pass through the brand police, who will reject it outright or tie it up in endless revisions. Obsolete technology. If they're lucky enough to have a learning management system, LMS, it's likely a relic from 2003, provides no usable insights. How to accelerate their decline. Ignore them. Refuse to meet with sales enablement. If they produce something, let it rather gather dust. Praise their irrelevance. Publicly thank them for their behind-the-scenes support while giving them ability or influence. Undermine their tools. If they somehow implement useful technology, replace it with a cheaper, worse alternative, then blame them for the platform's failure. Sales enablement, the impossible task. Sales enablement is like a tragic figure in a Shakespearean drama, destined for failure no matter how hard they try. Caught between conflicting priorities, unreasonable expectations, and a complete lack of respect from everyone involved, it exists as a department doomed to mediocrity, ridicule, and eventually irrelevance. Let's break down how sales enablement is an impossible task and why, no matter what they do, they're screwed from the very beginning. Salespeople are often confident to a fault. Why shouldn't they be? They've been successful in closing deals, meeting quotas, and surviving the cutthroat world of commissions. To them, learning something new from sales enablement is unnecessary, even insulting. Salespeople's mindsets. I know what works. They'd been hitting targets without fancy training programs, so why start now? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Salespeople are creatures of habit. Even if their methods could be improved, they resist anything that challenges their routine. I don't have time for this. Sitting through workshops and webinars means less time to sell. If they're not selling, they're not selling. Trying to teach salespeople anything feels like trying to convince a cat to swim. Theoretically possible, but no one involved will enjoy the process. Part 2. The best product wins myth. At the core of many organizations lies a dangerous myth. The best product always wins. Under this logic, sales should be simple. Just explain the product and customers will instantly recognize its superiority. Why this myth kills sales enablement. What's the point? If the product sells itself, then sales doesn't need fancy techniques or tailored strategies. Overconfidence on features. Companies focus on technical specs and feature comparisons instead of understanding customers' actual pain points. Neglecting emotional connections. Based on features, they want solutions, trust, and relationships. But sales enablement can't teach that if no one actually believes anything they say. Sales enablement's problem. If leadership believes that products sell themselves, sales enablement is seen as nothing more than an unnecessary expense. Why bother training salespeople when the product is doing all the actual work? We need results now mentality. Sales enablement operates in the long term, building skills, strategies, and tools that pay off down the road. Unfortunately, sales leadership operates in the short term, driven by quarterly targets, pipeline numbers, and immediate results. Why this creates chaos. We don't have time. Sales leaders are focused on closing deals this quarter. Anything that takes time away from immediate revenue generation is as a distraction. Training. If sales enablement rolls out useful resources, leadership often skips implementation because it doesn't directly contribute to this week's goals. Just get it done. Sales enablement carefully planned initiatives are pushed aside for last-minute fire drills. Quotas. And sales enablement's problem. No matter how valuable their work might be, they're constantly deprioritized in favor of quick fixes. Building long-term value is impossible when leadership only cares about the next 90 days. The battle of egos. Product versus sales versus leadership. Every stakeholder believes they know best. Product teams, sales teams, and sales leadership each have their own idea of how deals should be won, and all of them think that sales enablement is getting in the way. The three-way tug of war. Product team believes salespeople don't need training, just explain the features. Any lost deal is because sales doesn't understand the product. Salespeople believe product teams have no idea what customers actually want. Sales enablement is useless because they already know how to sell. Sales leadership believes both product and sales clueless. Only leadership knows what works. Sales enablement is too slow to make any impact on real-world results. And sales enablement's problem. Caught in the middle, sales enablement is constantly undermined. Product teams ignore their insights, sales teams resent their interference, and leadership dismisses their initiatives as irrelevant. The impossibility of being useful. Even when sales enablement tries its best, systematic obstacles ensure its work rarely sees the light of day. How the system works against them. Blocked by brand police. Anything they create gets stuck in endless reviews to ensure it aligns with corporate branding. Tools, resources are created but never distributed effectively, leaving sales teams unaware of what's available. Ignored by the field. Even when tools and training are accessible, they're ignored by sales teams who don't see the value. Sales enablement problem. Even when they create something useful, systematic inefficiencies ensure it's wasted. No one wants to take responsibility. When things go wrong, the blame game begins. And guess who's the easiest target? The blame chain. If sales is failing, it's because sales enablement didn't provide the right training or resources. If the product isn't selling, it's because sales enablement didn't explain it properly. If leadership misses targets, it's because sales enablement didn't align their work with the company's goals. Sales enablement's problem. They're held accountable for things they can't control while being given no credit for things that go well. Conclusions. Sales enablement is doomed. Sales enablement lives in a perpetual catch-22. If salespeople succeed, it's because the product is great. If salespeople fail, it's because sales enablement didn't do enough. No matter what they do, they are undervalued, underfunded, and over-criticized. They're stuck in a role that everyone needs but no one respects. The final irony? Sales enablement is its greatest strength. The final irony? Sales enablement's greatest strength. The ability to bridge gaps between product, sales, and leadership is also its greatest weakness. When everyone thinks they're already the expert, the middleman is always seen as the problem. So to the unsung heroes of sales enablement, we salute you. Your work may go unnoticed, but your struggles are as monumental as they are thankless.